Hello and welcome to Vlogmas Day 5. Today is my first final exam that I've been studying for, so I'm a little bit nervous. I've just been taking it easy this morning, staying calm. I feel like I'm well prepared, and I'm not like the most anxious exam taker, but I feel like anytime there's an exam, it's normal to be a little bit anxious. So I'm just taking it easy this morning. I'm going to make myself some breakfast, make sure to drink plenty of water. I'm really going to focus on reviewing and on my exam, so I won't be vlogging any of that. But then afterwards, I do have some fun Christmas activities, so I will be back to talk about that and also how my exam went. So it'll be a long time for me, but a little time for you. See you then. Just kidding. It is actually the next day now. And after my final, which did go pretty well, thankfully, I came back home and I was going to get ready to go see some Christmas lights at a fancy hotel on the beach. But then I fell asleep because I was so exhausted after my final. I was just really tired. It was not the night last night. So it's a new day. We're trying this again. I'm not going to go. The lights aren't happening today. So today is actually just going to be a little bit of studying in the morning. I'm back on the grind because I have some more finals, but then I'm going to go shopping for a little. And since my birthday is coming up, I have a few freebies that I can pick up from places. So I'm going to go get a couple of those too. But now I am back on a new day, starting with breakfast again. Yum, the omelet turned out great and I'm very excited to eat. So today I got like an ad on Instagram that told me that Bath & Body Works 3-wick candles were all $10. So I obviously had to go check it out. And then I was not the only person who knew that today. So the store was fully packed, but I got a couple candles. They came with like a cute reusable bag, and I feel like I don't need more reusable bags, so I don't normally take the reusable bags, except for this one is kind of nice because it's like, I'm gonna pick it back up. It's like a flat bottom rectangle, and I feel like that will be super nice for carrying stuff around. So I actually really did find that useful. And then I got 2 candles. The first one I got is the vanilla balsam one, and I wanted a Christmassy candle, and this one smells like vanilla and pine trees. Kind of obvious from the name, but it does, and it's got the cute little peppermint, so I really enjoyed that smell. I'm normally like a sweet smell, not like fruity or anything like that, but that's kind of perfect. Normally I like the, what's it called, warm vanilla bean or something like that, so I thought this was a fun, even more Christmassy version of that. Okay, and then the second candle I got is this one. It's from their Bridgerton collection. They had like a Colin inspired one, a Penelope inspired one, and then this is the Diamond of the Season one. And it's peach, jasmine, and daffodil, I think. Yeah. And it smells really good. It is like a fruitier scent, but it's not too strong, so I do really enjoy it. And then it's got this little quote that says, "What is life without a little gossip?" on the back. So I thought it was a very pretty candle, and I really like Bridgerton, the books and the show. So I figured that would be a fun non-Christmas candle for once I finish the Christmas one or once the season's over, whatever it is. Now I'm going to go home, probably get that Christmas scent started and use that while I study, and then I'll be back for some more Christmas time and birthday adventures later in the afternoon. All right, so it is once again a new day, and I just wanted to explain to you guys. So I started this vlog on my first final, and I had planned to take that final and then go do Christmas stuff that night, but I was feeling super worn down after my final, and I took a nap. You saw that clip. Then the next day I tried again. I went to Bath & Body Works for the candle sale, and I again had the intention of doing some fun holiday activities that night, but I just felt super sick afterwards. I came home, I napped for like 3 hours, and then since then I've just been kind of recovering. I am starting to feel a lot better, thankfully, but it is a new day. I'm trying again, and I won't be doing any fun holiday activities today, but that's okay because I have another idea, and I'd really like to share with you what I've been reading recently. I've had some really good finds, and then some things that I'm super excited to start reading soon. So I don't know if you're a bookworm too, but I definitely am, and I'm excited to share my thoughts with you about these books. So I've got 4 different books that I've read in the last month or so. I coincidentally gave them all 4 stars. I promise I give other ratings to books too, but these I felt were all really good books, but weren't exactly perfect, and I'll explain why. I'll make sure to put a picture of the cover up, and I will also say the title and the author's name. I have a pet peeve about when people don't do that when they're talking about books, so I will add it in. Okay, first was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and I've been seeing this book everywhere on Book Talk. I'm a little bit late to the party, but the loan line for this on Libby was really long, so I had to wait for a minute. This is a rom-com about a figure skater and a hockey player, and it's very much an enemies to lovers type romance, although that part does go by kind of quick. So let's get into what I liked and what I didn't like about it. First of all, I loved the chemistry between the two main characters. Their romance felt very approachable and college-aged, which was accurate to who they are in the book. There were some steamy moments too, but most of the book was about their connection, which I think made it even better. I also really enjoyed the setting in the world of ice sports. It wasn't something I'd read before, and I think the author made it really approachable without needing to know too much of the jargon or background or anything. And then the side characters were amazing. I loved the full cast of characters. I thought they were pretty well fleshed out, although I'm excited that I think they're getting sequels for each of the other characters, and there were definitely some that I will have to read on about. Now on to the couple of things I didn't love as much. First was that there were definitely points where it was pretty predictable. I won't give any spoilers, but some of the drama towards the end, I was like, okay, I see where this is going. But that didn't make it disappointing. It still wrapped up in a super satisfying way. Also, while I did really love the main characters, and specifically the heroine, the figure skater, I felt like she was a little bit underdeveloped. She was definitely mainly a love interest, and so her behavior just reflected whatever was convenient for the story. So I would have loved if she had to grapple with that a little bit more. Overall though, Icebreaker is a super fun, cozy read if you're looking for a little bit of romance and comedy that has just a little bit of depth to it. I definitely recommend it if you're into sports romance or just want a good feel-good story with lots of heart. It's definitely one that I'll be recommending to my friends who I know will like this kind of story. Okay, and I'm talking about these kind of in reverse order that I read them. So then what I read before that was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So this one has been on my TBR to be read list for quite a while. Same thing, I've seen it online, so I wanted to read it. I was so excited to finally pick it up, and it's a friends to lovers type of romance with a little bit of vacation fantasy thrown in. And I did really love the premise of this book. So it's two friends who vacation together every year, and it's flashbacks throughout their life of the different vacations that they've taken together. Then it's intertwined with current day stories about the vacation that they're on now. The back and forth was super fun, and it helped build kind of an emotional weight to their relationship, so I was really invested in who they were. Even though it was kind of slow and messy, it was still really honest and real. Even though it wasn't, it felt like it could be, so I did really enjoy that part of it. I also really loved that Emily Henry's writing has humor and banter and emotional depth, which is sometimes hard to find in a good romance book. There were definitely some laugh out loud moments and then also some tear-jerking moments. I am a crier when I read, and this one definitely got to me. I found myself so invested in the journey that I could not put the book down until I found out what happened next, and I ended up finishing this all in one night. That said, there were a couple of things that kept me from giving this a 5-star review, and the first was just the pacing. I felt like during the middle of the book, it slowed down significantly, and a lot of the problems, which again, I won't spoil, could have been solved by communication that they had exhibited at other times. So it felt a little unrealistic, just in the middle. Also, I love the main characters, but every single side character was really just there to sort of advance one specific plot moment. So I think if they had given a little bit more depth to those characters, I really would have enjoyed that too. Overall though, People We Meet on Vacation is a fantastic summer read, even if it's not summer anymore. It's a beautiful mix of fun, romance, and comedy that I think that people who enjoy a good romance comedy type of book will love. Before that, I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins-Reid. This book wrecked me in the absolute best way possible. Like I said, I am a crier at books, and this one had me sobbing frequently. If you haven't heard of it, it's about this iconic Hollywood movie star who asks this girl, who seems random at first, to interview her about her life story, and then it's going through that interviewer's perspective to tell the life story of Evelyn Hugo. And let me tell you, the drama and the twists and the turns, it was a wild ride. First of all, I loved Evelyn's character, and I do not say that lightly. She is complicated in the very best way, very ambitious and cunning, but also really cares about the people she loves. But what I loved the most is that she felt very real. Even though she was portrayed as this out-of-touch movie star, she is so human, and it's very much layered with parts of her character that I could relate to, that I could relate people I know to, and it just made it very approachable. Monique's character was also really well done. She had a very clear arc, which did help follow the timeline of the book too. So even though she was slightly less well fleshed out, I actually appreciated her presence as sort of a obvious measure of where we were in the book and in the story. The plot was super engaging. I was hooked from the very first chapter, and there were definitely points where I tend to know when twists are coming, but there were points that got me in this book. The story goes places that I didn't expect, and it said things about fame and love and loss that were really profound, even though it wasn't in a setting that was super relatable to me. That said, the book was not perfect. I will say I felt like the ending wrapped up a little bit too quickly for my liking. The quick ending kind of made the last twist a little bit one-dimensional. I felt like we could have seen the effects of that a little bit deeper in the story. Don't get me wrong, I love the emotional payoff of finally knowing what happened, but I feel like tying that in a little bit more was something that I really craved after getting to know these characters so well. I wanted just a little more time to digest everything before the story came completely to an end. But overall, this book is an emotional, complex story about love, identity, fame, success, and it was a really interesting read. It's definitely a book that I will be thinking about for a long time. So if you love characters that are complex and flawed, or you're just interested in a fun story about Hollywood glamour, this book is for you. And then this last book is actually a nonfiction sort of biographical drama. I read Bad Blood by Carreyrou, and this is the true story of the rise and fall of Theranos and its founder Elizabeth Holmes, and also her former partner and co-founder Sunny Balwani. Their company was going to revolutionize a blood test, and it turned out that it was all a scam after they had roped in a lot of really influential, powerful, and rich people, and they'd lied to the American public and to the American government. It was a huge scandal that really rocked sort of the tech startup world. It is a crazy story, and I could not put it down. I knew some of the details beforehand. I'd followed this in the news, but the amount of detail that this book goes into was so interesting. The author included not only the technology and the life cycle of the company, but also a lot about the individual players who really made this story what it is. The whole thing is kind of written like it's a thriller or a drama, but it's all real, which makes it so hard to believe, but yet the writing makes it so clear that this actually happened. What I really appreciated was that Carreyrou approached this not as just a scandal that was interesting and happened in the past, but something that's ongoing and can sort of tell us about life in America and startup culture as we know it. It was kind of centered around this theme of success at all costs. And it wasn't necessarily saying whether people were good or bad people, but letting you come to a judgment based on your own values around this central theme. And Elizabeth Holmes, even though she's a real person, was also such a fascinating character. She was so convincing and charming, yet so manipulative. I honestly found myself shaking my head in disbelief, but again, it was easy to believe because Carreyrou made it so obvious that this was all real. Carreyrou's writing is clear and compelling, which made me hooked from the beginning, and I could not put this one down either. Now, there were a couple of things that did make me take off a star. Now, the level of detail in this book is amazing, but there were a couple points where I feel like it got bogged down a little in the science. I did appreciate it because it was interesting to know about, but it definitely threw off the pacing of the story element, which was more central to the book. So I think that could have been slightly improved. Also, there were a couple points where the information was included because it fit the theme of a section, but it wasn't necessarily where it happened in the timeline, and that got me just a little confused at a couple of points. If I hadn't had the background knowledge going into this book, I may have been even more confused. Overall, Bad Blood is really interesting if you like true crime or business stories or documentaries generally. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition and the promise of success in corporate America. So so I highly recommend if you're looking for something gripping and full of twists and turns. Now I want to talk about the books that I have on my to-be-read list that I'm planning on reading next. First is Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Malinda Lo. I saw this book recommended on Book Talk and I was very excited by the concept. It sounds like something that's right up my alley, so I am excited to read this, and this will probably be what I read very next. Then I want to read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I loved People We Meet on Vacation, so I'm excited to read this one too. Then I want to read The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This actually seems something that's right up my sister's alley, so I wanted to read it so I could recommend it to her or not. Then I actually have the audiobook for Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. And I know that I have some long car rides coming up with my travels, and I felt like this was a super interesting topic to think about and get into while I was on those drives. So I'm excited to listen to this one too. Let me know if there's anything that you've been reading that you've really loved, or if you've really hated it, let me know that too. And if you have any recommendations for me, I would love to take them. So leave a comment or reach out to me on Instagram. Thanks for joining me on the wild ride that has been this vlog. I know it's been a little crazy, so I appreciate you sticking it out with me. I have a lot more Vlogmas coming up this month with hopefully better luck. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.